So am I audible? So good evening to all. So I'm extremely sorry. It is because of some technical issues. Actually, this was delayed. So extremely sorry for that one. So can anyone, some of you, can you confirm that is it the voice is audible in the chat box so that I can start continuing? Yes, good evening to all. Welcome to this orientation session for the geology optional in UPSC Indian Forest Service examination. So in this session, we will explore why geology is a smart and a strategic choice for IFS aspirants. Like we will be discussing like how to approach this geology subject efficiently, and what you can expect from this journey. And by the end, you will be having a clear-cut roadmap for your geology preparation and a better understanding of how to maximize your score. So that is the thing. Okay, so today we will be doing the studies mainly on these things only. We will be discussing in this session like how to approach this subject efficiently, then what you can expect from this journey, and by the end you will be having a clear cut roadmap for your geology preparation, and you will be like having a better understanding on how to maximize your score. So those things we will discuss in this today's geology optional, this orientation course. Okay, so now coming to this next this thing, we can say here this optional, why we have to choose this optional course. Why we are choosing this optional course. So let us start with a fundamental question, like why should you pick geology for IFS generally? Because generally geology, why it was chosen means because geology is a highly scoring optional. It is known for its objectivity and well-defined syllabus. So that is the main thing. So one is what it is known for its objectivity and known for its well-defined syllabus, we can say. Okay, well-defined syllabus in the sense means like you can get straight away questions from the syllabuses. So that is one of the key point we can say. And the syllabus is more static and it is not a dynamic like our general studies and the prelims, we can say. Okay, so it is mostly static one, we can say, and only the current related one we will be getting that static portions, we can say. Okay, and another plus point is there why we are choosing this, why we have to choose this geology for, especially for this forest service means we can say it is having a overlap with our general studies topics, especially with the geography and environment. So what it will do means it will reduce your overall study load, we can say, overall study load. So like there's our topics like geomorphology, the remote sensing, we can say, or environmental geology. So these are the topics which we will be already like getting overlapped with our general studies, we can say. Okay, so because fewer candidates choose geology, the competition is less intense. That is also one of the reason that we can choose this geology optional, we can say, for this forest service examination. So like people, very few candidates they will be choosing, because many people are not aware of this one, and they will be like thinking like this is something like a difficult and a different. That is the reason people are not choosing, we can say. Okay, and the question pattern here, you can see this one is what another thing. Here we can predict the questions actually. Okay, the question pattern is predictable, so this making it easier to strategize your preparation. Okay, so this is the things actually why we have to choose this geology as optional for this we can say. Okay, now if you see here, Here the main thing is actually, if you can say, the 20% of the syllabus is already covered in the, we can say, the general study syllabus, like including your geography and environment. And the syllabus is very precise, especially for the forest service examination. And here there will be like another one more positive thing for geology is what, and there is always an overlap between the paper 1 and 2. That is another, we can say, the positive side of this geology optional. Matlab, like we can say, whenever we are studying this geology paper 1, the same things will be repeated even in the paper 2 also. Okay, suppose if you are not getting that questions for you are preparing, so you can expect these things. I mean, you can make use of this knowledge even in the paper 2. So that is a, like we can say, another addition point, value addition for this geology optional paper, we can say. So which indirectly facilitates our revision for these optional subjects such as paper 1 and 2. Okay. And generally, how do we like increase our efficiency? Matlab, enhance our efficiency means by understanding the syllabus. It is not only for geology optional. You know that one. It is very well that even for any paper, any topic actually, understanding the syllabus. Matlab, you can say, by knowing the micro syllabus, so we can achieve completion within a month, we can say. Okay, so why we are telling this much within a month, this much confidently, means because the past experiences, especially from the non-geology people. Okay, the past experiences from the non-geology people, so they achieved this efficiency. Matlab, they achieved this, they enhanced this efficiency with this thing, we can say. So how means one is what, the one is, we can say, the focused classes, we can say. If they are not in a position to, like we can say, do the self study, so by the focused classes and the daily writing answer practices, so these two are the key for enhancing the efficiency. So with the help of the micro syllabus, matlab detailed syllabus, we can say. Okay, and here another plus point in the geology is what, no additional books are necessary here for completing your whole syllabus. Okay, so it means what, we can say, the few like books which will be suggested in this course, we can say, and handouts. So these handouts plus like a few textbooks, that is more than enough for completing the syllabus and to score the maximum marks, we can say. Okay, now next question, some people like they used to ask, do you need a master's degree? It is absolutely not. Okay, so there is not necessary for any masters in geology. Okay, even there is not necessary to have a degree at all for geology. So what you need is actually what, you don't need any masters, not even a specialized geology background to do well in your exams. So what matters is a clear understanding of concepts, the ability to write concise, factual answers, and consistent practice. So that is the key here for scoring the maximum, we can say. Okay, and many successful candidates, if you ask or if you read the interviews and all, so many successful candidates, especially those who opted for geology optional, have come from non-geology backgrounds. Mostly the engineers, we can say, not even the civil engineers, we can say, because at least the civil engineers, they will be having a small, I mean, like 1 semester or 2 semester optional paper in engineering geology. But even like we can say, even on civil engineering people also, they, I mean, qualified this examination by taking a geology optional, we can say. Okay, so many successful candidates have come from non-geology backgrounds and scored exceptionally well by focusing on the basics and practicing the answer writing. Okay, now let us clarify how the IFS exam structure differs from the civil service exam, as this impacts your preparation strategy. Okay, so now IFS, if you see IFS and the civil service examination, the key differences, we can see. So like we are having geology, because most of the people, like they will be writing this forest service as well as civil services examination. And here we are having both the papers may, like we can say, both the services may, we are having what in the mains examination, geology as an optional. Okay, some people used to ask, sir, as I am preparing for a geology optional for forest service, so can I take a geology optional same for even this thing, so that it will reduce my burden? Yes, you are absolutely well correct actually. Now the only difference is that what means here in forest service mains, the geology optional is straight away, I mean straightforward questions you will be getting. Whereas in civil services, though the syllabus is same, though the syllabus for your forest service as well as civil service is same for your geology optional, whereas the toughness is a little bit tricky for civil services, we can say. Okay, the toughness is for a civil services what, it is a little bit difference, we can say. So in IFS, you must select two optional subjects, unlike a CSE where only one option is required, we can say. And the weightage of optional in IFS is higher, making your choice and preparation even more crucial, we can say. Both exams share a common preliminary stage, but the IFS main structure is unique with a greater emphasis on subject expertise. Okay, and the level of questioning, I mean, the level of question is also what very easy comparing with your civil services, we can say. So this differences, understanding these differences will help you allocate your time and resources effectively, we can say. Okay, so before we dive into the syllabus, let us look at an illustration that highlights the applied nature of this geology, especially with respect to your forest services examination mains, civil services examination mains, and geologist examination mains, we will see. Okay, with an illustration, especially like a small topic we will take in the syllabus, we are having the petrology of kimberlite. Okay, suppose in forest service, what will be the expectation means they will be asking discuss, especially like we can say maximum you can expect is what a 10 mark. Okay, 10 mark if you are asking, if they are asking means discuss about the petrology of kimberlite. So here you will be writing what is a kimberlite, why we are studying this thing, what is the mineralogy. So these things if you are writing, that is more than enough for a forest services. So this is the expectation. So for 2 pages you will be writing about what like you will be writing about what is a kimberlite, so how the name has been derived, what it is composed of, that is a mineralogy we can say, and what it is important for, and where we can expect, so what is the general ages, and where are the occurrences with respect to India and the world. If it is necessary, we can write this. Okay, now if it is a civil services, so the question will be what, so discuss about the petrology and the petrogenesis of kimberlite with respect to some craton, some area like that they will be asking. So like a little bit depth wise they will go. Suppose if you go for geological services, even it will be like a more like why kimberlites are not occurring at like a margins like that. So like they will be going pure technical, because that is what we can say, that is a technical services, we can say geological services. So the level of questions is going to the content is same, the content is same. Whereas in forest services, you have to give the brief and nutshell content. Matlab, you are going to give the like the basic fundamentals you are going to give in the forest services. Whereas in civil services, little application in the genetic aspects will be given. Whereas in geological services, we can say, so it will be like water, purely like water, we can say the applied aspects. Matlab, you will be like giving the genetic aspects, even in depth, you will be studying. Okay, so that is the key differences we can say with respect to this illustration of this petrology of kimberlite, we can say. Okay. Now, before we dive into the syllabus, let us look, we can say, now we will let us break down the syllabus you will be tackling. So one by one, we will see like what are the things we are going to study one by one in this thing. Okay. So now understanding the syllabus, I mean like that is the most important thing, crucial part for anything we can say. Okay. So in this case, we can say here, in geology also like this is very crucial. Like this understanding the geology syllabus will make you that you are completing 25% of the syllabus. Okay, that is the most thing we can say. Okay, so geology is optional, you know that when the syllabus is divided into two papers, we can say, that is paper 1 and paper 2, each with the distinct but interconnected, that is a positive thing we can say, interconnected topics. So interconnected topics means what we can say, like you will be having like once you understand the paleontology, so that part will be utilized, some points you will be like connecting within your stratigraphy. Okay, the same thing not only in paper 1, we can say, even the paper 1 content will be utilized in paper 2, like in economic geology you will be using. Okay, so that is why we can say like whatever we are studying in paper 1 and paper 2, so like it will be useful for many things, we can say. Next other paper mein hum log we will be like we will be using, we can say. Okay, so like a paper 1 will cover the foundational areas like general geology, geomorphology, remote sensing, structural geology, and paleontology. Okay, then the paper 2 involves into what delves into what we can say mineralogy. Even mineralogy, if you are again, if you are dividing these things, we can say it will be divided into like we can say the physical mineralogy, optical mineralogy, and crystallography, we can say. So for better understanding, suppose this is the thing, actually micro syllabus will be there, like we will be like so that the micro syllabus, once you make, I mean once you have the micro syllabus, your 25% of the preparation is completed, we can say. Okay, now petrology, so paper 2 delves into mineralogy. Then we are having petrology. Again, the petrology is divided into igneous petrology, sedimentary petrology and metamorphic petrology, we can say. Then we are having economic geology. Then we are having certain, like we can say economic geology, under me we are having water ore geology, mineral exploration and mining geology, we can say. And certain applied fields like we can say hydrogeology, remote sensing, then environmental geology. So these are the things we can say this one. So a clear grasp of the syllabus helps you prioritize high yield topics and avoid unnecessary diversions. Okay, so those things only we can say. So a clear grasp of the syllabus helps you prioritize high yield topics and avoid, we can say, this unnecessary diversions, we can say. Okay, so that is the thing. So we need to first grasp the syllabus properly, so that we will like prioritize like which topic will be like it is important for understanding the like a difficult part. So which one is basic and which one is a difficult one. So those things and all we should know. So by reading these things we can see. Okay, now but how are these topics? You may be asking like how are these topics represented in an actual exam? So let us look at the pattern and the marking scheme. Okay, so if you see the exam pattern, okay, if you see the exam pattern and the marking scheme, both the paper 1 and 2 are carrying a 200 marks each. You know that one. Okay, the questions range from short notes, that is we can say the 8 marks to, then we can say detailed answers, that is a 10 marks as well as a 15 marks we will be getting in especially in a forest service geology optional. Okay, so often requiring well labeled diagram. So always remember geology may, so not only for this forest services or civil services, we can say, even for geologist examination, generally the examiners who are the geologist professors or geologists in nature, we can say professional geologists, so they will be expecting like a well labeled diagram and like we can say well cited examples, we can say. Okay, so most answers are expected in about 150 words only. So it means what, like a 15 marks means you will be having the limited space, that is 3 pages. If it is 8 or 10 marks, you will be writing for 2 pages, we can say. So the precision and the clarity are the key here. Okay, it is not the paragraph. So it is not the paragraph, it is not the space you are covering, we can say. So it is the precision in the answer and the clarity. These are the keys for scoring the maximum. Okay, so supporting your answers with the relevant diagrams plus the excellent examples can make a significant differences in your score, we can say. To further refine your focus, let us analyze the trends from the past 11 years. Okay, so like a past 11 years, if you see, like we can say this table, like we can say this will be like telling about what we can say summarizes the mark distribution across the topics from 2014 to 24, we can say. So this notices there is a consistency, especially like a general geology, structural geology and the paleontology are always high weightage areas. Similarly, in paper 2, if you see mineralogy, economic geology and mining geology, they are dominated, we can say. Okay, so if you focus like at least in the beginning may, then we can easily like cover other aspects also, like when if you are using the time efficiently, we can say. So this data driven approach lets you to target your efforts for maximum returns in the mains examination, we can say. Let us break down paper 1 and paper 2 topic wise for even greater clarity. Okay, so now if you see this one, here is a detailed breakdown for paper 1. Okay, so paper 1, if you see that one, so the general geology and the structural geology consistently like contribute over, like you can say contribute over 50 marks each year. Okay, so like we can say the general geology and the structural geology, if you see the past like 11 years, we can say structural geology and general geology consistently they will contribute over 50 marks each year, we can say. Okay, now paleontology and stratigraphy are also reliable scoring areas, but this pattern should be guide your like a study priorities and a revision schedule, we can say. Okay, so that is the thing. Now coming to the like paper 2, in paper 2, so like our focus is important, especially on water. The focus is important on mineralogy, then we can say followed by we can say the petrology, then we can say it on water, we can say that these things we can say matlab, we can say that is in the mining geology, as they often carry a bulk of marks, we can see. Okay, so igneous and sedimentary along with environmental also features regularly, but by aligning your preparation with these trends. Okay, so you can optimize your study time, and again, so you can improve your, like we can say, improve your score effectively, we can say. Okay, so now how should you sequence your study to build a solid foundation and avoid this overwhelming problem? So generally, so whenever we are like we can say, like starting any topics, generally for the non-geology people, we can say, so generally people will be like having a problem, we can say. So people will be having a, we can say, the problem, especially like what we can say, like they will be having an issue, we can say. Okay, having an issue especially in covering this exams. Okay, so geology was a new subject, no doubt in that one. So how the sequences will be there, matlab how they can start in generally. Okay, how they can start in generally, we can say. Okay, so whenever they are doing in general, we can say here. So there will be a problem, especially whenever they are doing with that's a new topics, we can say. Okay, so how we can sequence the study to build a solid foundation and to avoid that stress. So we will see. So here this is the recommended study sequence, we can say. Okay, so this is the recommended study sequences, we can say here. Okay, so recommended study. So what means the stepwise progression? So always start with general geology and geomorphology. Okay, so why this is important in the sense means, like we can say, generally like whenever we are going okay, so general geology and geomorphology already we covered so during our we can say the prelims examination, we can say. Okay, so prelims examination we already like covered, we can say. So general geology and geomorphology already we studied, or we can say covered so during the general studies, we can say. General studies may already be covered, we can say. Okay, so that's it. That is the reason we can say this we can cover easily. Okay, and the next thing is what so during the prelims so we will be covering some geography. So even in the geography, so these things are covered, like topics like we can say the earthquakes, volcanoes, then plate tectonics. So these are the things already we covered. Even we can say the weathering, the types of weathering, physical weathering, chemical weathering, or we can say the types of landforms. All these things are what are very easy, and we don't need any guidance. So that is why we can say, so any topic, anytime we are starting that one, always start with the general geology and the geomorphology. Then you can go for what the structural geology, because that is the structural is what that is the main thing, we can say, main content which is going to control. So this is the sequence you should follow. So once your structure is over, then you can go for what your stratigraphy, then your paleontology. Okay, then only you should go for what you have to switch it for your geochemistry and mineralogy. So mineralogy may again you divided and study that one. What means like you have to study crystallography separately, then optical mineralogy, then physical mineralogy. And once you complete this one, again integrate this three, that is optical, physical, and crystallography. So once you integrate these things, so geochemistry will be easy. And once you integrate geochemistry and mineralogy, your petrology will become very easy for you to cover. I mean, for understanding this thing, we can say. Okay, so petrology will be like what? It is very easy when you like understand this geochemistry and even the integral parts. We can say the micro parts of this mineralogy. If you are covering effectively, then your petrology is nothing, we can say. Okay, and once your petrology, geochemistry, even the paper one, that stratigraphy is covered well, then your economic geology will be very very easy one. Why? Because economic geology is nothing but, we can say in simple language, like which mineral commodity in which state, where, how it is there. So that is the thing you are going to study under the economic geology. It is like okay, we can say it is like what economic geography, we can say. Okay, like here we are going to study scientifically. That is the only difference. In geography you are going to study like what I'm going to get coal in Andhra, Telangana, like that we will be studying, isn't it? So here, why we are not going to study about the geographic boundaries. We will be studying what, why in this age coal I am getting, why in this age I am getting the petrol, why in this age I am getting the gold. So why not in the other ages? So that is the thing we are going to study in economic geology. So that is the differences between what economic geology and this thing. Okay, now mining is what like once you are known that like here coal is there, here gold is there, here copper is there. So how do you going to mine? What are the methods? So that is the thing you are going to cover under this mining. Okay, now other aspects, matlab miscellaneous aspects, we can say, that is I mean that requires no like guidance, we can say. What means like applied aspects, we can say, that is remote sensing, then some certain problems, we can say. Then we can say mathematical problems which are very simple and easy scoring, and you can score the maximum. 15 means 15 out of 15 we can easily score in that in problems we can say. Okay, then hydrogeology. Okay, again it is an easy topic, very less content, but you can score the maximum we can say. And we can say the engineering geology, again it is an easy one, and the scoring we can say, applied aspect we can say. Okay, then last is what environmental. Once you know about the pollution, these things and all, it is very easy to write, or we can say answer these questions we can say. Okay, now we begin with the general geology and the geomorphology. These are the fundamentals we can say. Okay, now this logical progressions ensures we can say, especially for developing a strong conceptual base before moving to the advanced topics. But not all topics require the same approach. Some are ideal for self study, while others benefit from we can say the expert guidance. Expert guidance means what? It may be a mentor hoga, or it may be like your seniors who appeared for geology optionals. You can take or you can take any academy for this approach we can say. Okay, now what is what is the differences between the self study and the guided preparation? The topics like general geology, or we can say the geomorphology. Okay, so then we can say the stratigraphy, so they don't need any, we can say, often can be mastered through the self study, using the standard books like KM Banger or Parbinsing. I said or, not and. Okay, either you can go for Parbinsing or the Banger, or you can go for even the textbook of geology by Mahabhatra. Okay, so any of these standard books or textbooks, you can go with a self study. Okay, however, the areas like the mineralogy, especially we can say the optical mineralogy, or the crystallography, or these things we can say optical part, we can say, or structural geology, petrology and all water, they require some guidance, especially for water, little deeper understanding we can say, little deeper understanding, and its application. Because here what is that understanding means, why this deeper understanding is required means, because we have to apply, especially when we are getting the questions, the applied aspects we can say. Okay, example, they will be asking, so how do you recognize a fold? Structural geology, maybe we can say only a four different components in the structural geology we can say: fold, fault, unconformity, and joints we can say. Okay, now they will not ask you directly what is the type of fault, okay, or what are the types of fold. So they will be asking like uh, how do you recognize a fault in the field area? So like that, if they're asking us a little bit knowledge, like a fault, when we can expect, where we can expect, which rock types we can expect. So that is why we need some guidance for this. So that is the main thing, where you need a self study and where you need guided preparation. So this also you should have a clarity before starting your syllabus. Okay, if you are asking this is a tough, definitely no, I will say. Why? Because from the past, these things we can say, past teaching these things, we can say that this thing, I mean, it is very easy once you are having the disciplined approach and the consistency in learning, we can say. Okay, so leverage coaching and online resources and peer discussions for challenging, for these challenging sections will be what efficient we can say. So for both self study and guided learning, having the right resources are always crucial we can say. Okay, now, using the standard textbooks for each topic, such as P.K. Mukherjee for mineralogy, older people we can say, or Dexter Perkins for mineralogy we can say, and the Mahabhadra book on textbook of geology, even for structural geology you can see, and supplementing with some handouts, or you can say previous year question papers. So this will be what good we can say. Okay, and the most important is what we can say, it is always a successful mantra, especially UPSC. We can say that one is what always my professor is also used to say, means what it is not like a more resources and a few times revision. So it is what the key is what a simple we can say, especially in UPSC we can say is what it is like a single book, more the times revision. So that is a, we can say, key for scoring higher marks in the examination. Okay, it is whatever the topic, whether it is a polity or economy, even it is applicable for geology as well. So the more the time you are going to read the same book again and again, so that your fundamentals will become stronger, so that you can easily apply, and you can easily write the effective and efficient answers for scoring the maximum in the mains examination we can say. Okay, now let us discuss how to write effective answers and use diagrams to you, to your advantage. Okay, so that is the thing. Okay, generally this is the thing, how to write effective answers and how to use the diagrams for our advantage. Okay, So always remember, like we can say, answer writing and diagram strategy. If you see that one, so always structure your answers. So how do you get this? Like we can say this talent, we can say this tact. So like by practicing. So like you have to introduce. It is not like writing an introduction. Okay, this we should not get misleaded or misunderstood. So you have to introduce like this thing. I mean, like nicely we have to introduce that one. Then we have to go for that core content, and you have to conclude it concisely. Not writing the conclusion part. You have to conclude that answer with in a concise way. Okay, so you can go with what wherever the diagrams are possible. Always go for the diagrams with a well labeled. You can say, okay, wherever possible, use the well labeled diagrams. We can say well labeled diagrams. You can say, so they can fetch extra marks and clarify your points. Okay, and to my knowledge, I can say that one. So in our days, we can say when we appeared UPSC examination, because I appeared and I cleared in the first attempt. We can say, so in the year 2008, so there was like a period that like additional paper concept. So matlab kya hai? So we will be having the additional sheet. So those days, may even I didn't took any additional sheet, but I scored the maximum in the written examination. Okay, so what is the point means if you are conveying even by bulletins, okay, even by bulletins with a good diagrams and good examples, the chances of getting higher marks is always higher, we can say. Okay, so at least you will be getting what if you are like conveying with through your bulletins, you can score the maximum, we can say. You can score the maximum. I will be sharing this model answers also during this course of time. We will see that model answers also, we can see. Okay, like we can say the practicing, like we can say, so always like structure your answers with like we can say introducing to that core. Then you have to write the core content, then conclude it with concisely. Okay, and always use the well labeled diagrams wherever it is possible, so that they can fetch extra marks and clarify your points. Okay, so practice writing within the word limit. That is most important. Okay, so that you have to like so that you will be focusing on the clarity and the factual precision, we can say. Okay, and always remember, neatness and proper labeling in diagrams are always more important as a content. Okay, as a content. Okay, remember always neatness and proper labeling in diagrams, so that can add a value. Because this I saw, especially in the topics may topper answer models. If you see that one, if you see and if you request them, so you can see these things. Because I saw in the daily answer writing pattern is the same thing they reflected, that is why they scored, we can say. Okay, the neatness and the proper labeling in diagrams are most important as your content. Okay, so despite we will be having another thing, what despite a solid plan. Okay, so you may face some common challenges. So what kind of challenges generally whenever we are like especially with respect to this, let us address those. Okay, the common challenges, like we can say one is what you might be struggle with what the technical jargon. Why means technical jargon I'm telling means because geology again it is a new subject, we can say. And most of the words, whether it is a mineral word or the rock word, or we can say the area word, the formations, so these things are what a new, we can say. Okay, so that is why you can say that one what so like you will be coming across the technical jargon. So technical jargon, how you can overcome it. So like in our older days, we can say school days, may we can say. So we will be like reciting these things like while going in bus, while traveling, while speaking. So like even we will be having several notice boards, may like by facing and pronouncing that one like more and more time. So we will get familiar with this technical jargons and this new terminologies. Okay. Now one more issue is what means we are not having any like forestry. You are having a Manigandan and a Prabhu book is there. Okay. Likewise, for geology there is no like ready-made materials. Okay, but you can always overcome, we can say. And the second thing is what there is like a lack of ready-made materials as well as interpreting the geological maps. So how do we overcome means by building a glossary. So joining a study groups, we can say, or we can say having a like a peer groups, we can say, and practicing with the real maps and the diagrams. So this is most important, practicing. Because why means because these are new, no doubt in that one. So like if you are putting like without a practice, without practicing the diagram, if you are straight away or going to examination and practicing means definitely, like we can say the trilobite will look like what a cockroach, we can say. Okay, or the cockroach will look like a rat. So this kind of diagrams, I mean, the diagrams will go in some other way, may. So finally, we will be not communicating our answers properly, so that conciseness and the neatness will disappear, and which obviously lower our confidence, we can say. Okay, so that is why we can say like the regular practice is more important, we can say. Okay, so stay motivated by tracking your progress and celebrate the small wins. So don't take a much but bigger topics, so always take a small things, so that you can celebrate the small wins, which will give you the intrinsic motivation. Okay, so now to stay on track, the most important thing is what you should follow a structured timeline. Okay, so to stay on track, so it is most important that to follow a structured timeline. So that is the most important thing we can say. Okay, so how do you divide? So generally we can say you can divide your timeline and milestones, like we can say what means, so always have a time for like say for example, if you are preparing this year means, so it the best time is now, we can say. The best time is now, we can say. Okay, so it means what you can start since you are having a good time, we can say 2-3 months, so you can take like you can say the now you can start with the foundation, then you can go for the core, and the most important thing is what you have to revise again and again. Okay, so basics and general studies topics you can start with, then you can go for the advanced geology topics, and you have to practice those with your application part, we can say. Okay, so that is the most important thing we can say here. You have to do it regularly. Okay, so revision, that is a multiple revisions and a mock test, and regularly assessing your progress. So by doing these things, you will be having you will be aware of what kind of mistakes you are going to make, and those mistakes, if you are having like in a small notebook, maybe if you are noting down, and if you read that before the exam, definitely you can like overcome these mistakes, and you will minimize the mistakes, so that you can score the maximum thing, we can say. Okay, so let us recap the these things, we can say. Let us recap the key points, and reinforce your motivation to pursue this geology optional. So why geology is a smart choice, you know that one, because it is a strategic topic, and this is a scoring one, and it is a manageable optional for Indian Forest Services examination, we can say. Okay, so with the right approach, even the non-geology graduates can excel in the examination, mains examination. Okay, so stay consistent. Okay, staying consistently by practicing answer writing daily, and making the diagrams, by doing the again and again revising that one, that creates your own strength, we can say. And always remember that geology is not just about the rocks, it's about understanding the earth and its resources, a highly, we can say, a skill highly valued in the Indian forest services, we can say. Okay, so with that, let us open the floor for your questions and discussions. Now the session is open for a discussion. So now you can ask whatever the doubts you are having. Sir, if I may know, when will the geology optional classes starts for AFS means? It is like I think this time two different batches they are conducting my classes. Two different batches. The time schedule it will be like soon it will be announced. So one will be like what 1.5 before the month. Another one soon, like next month May it is likely to start. We can say. So it will be having a like a 30 days crash course. So like weekly you will be having a 3 days course, or like a daily morning sessions we will be having like a morning 6 to 8. So this will be the class timings will be there. Okay. So why we are keeping this every day means so that you will not feel burdened. So you can come in slowly. You can like digest the things, these things, and you can easily understand this thing. So that is the thing. So two batches will be there. One will be like in the next month. Another one will be like just before the examination, 1 month before. So the exam, one more batch will be there. So two batches will be there. Yes, my UPSC, CSC and the forest, the syllabus are same. The content is same. Only the difficulty part, it is going to vary. So CSC will be a little bit difficult. So you need at least a 6 months preparation for a deeper understanding, and more practice is necessary for a civil services, we can say. Whereas for forestry, so even we can say like a 2 month preparation is more than enough for scoring the maximum. But the 2 months is also what dedicatedly, like without compromising a day, without compromising a single day, and having a daily answer writing practice consistently, and we can say this thing, we can say. My course fee, I think better, I think academy will be the right person. They will be telling the correct thing. I'm not aware of this thing, so kindly contact the academy administration, so they will be the correct person. Yes, I am from South India. I am from Pondicherry, Tamil Nadu. Any topic, I mean, any doubts are there related to this geology optional, no? I have applied for solely for IFS. How do I plan my mains preparation until the classes begin? Yes, but still the timetable is going to, I mean, get announced soon. So you can still prepare, because already we discussed now this one. At least you can start with your time being. You can start for your general geology and geomorphology, so that by the class starts actually by next month, you can continue. You easily you can transform that one. You can join that one. Yes, petroleum engineering means definitely you will be having some papers on this trap rocks and the petroleum, these things, and the localization of petroleum, these things and all. I think it will be easy. If you are having any like we can say field experiences, I think you can apply these things also. So petroleum engineering, you don't have any other options. So here your geology naturally will become a natural option, we can say, comparing to others, we can say. Because petroleum engineering you will be like covering about the porosity, permeability, petrophysics, geophysics and all. So these things will help definitely for sure. I won't say like it will cover complete, but at least it will give something actually comparing with others. You will be having some upper hand. McCain Banger, because to my knowledge, that is a good one, best one, you can say. You can go ahead actually, starting actually. Because after that, you can go, it is what we can say, like specific wise. If you are having enough time, you can go for what each topically books. But generally, I will not recommend this one. So if you are having a plan to join this, like a course means even the handouts are like more than enough. Handouts are more than enough, you can say. Okay, handouts plus this KM Banger. That is more than enough for covering this thing. And plus the classroom ka this notes, class notes. That is more than enough for covering entire syllabus. This I am very saying very confidently, because after seeing the two top rankers into, I mean, like 3 successive years, may we can say, like I can see this one confidently. The toppers they didn't follow any additional books. They had only the KM Banger and the class notes, which is given by me, or handouts, we can say. That is more than enough, especially for forest service. Okay, can we also expect mathematical questions? Yes, mathematical questions to a lesser extent, we can say. Like in hydrogeology, some mathematical problems, it is like a substituting the that mathematical values against that formula. That's all. And you will be expecting that resource calculation. That is like a simply making an average and a dividing. That's all. So this kind of questions only. It is not a tricky one, I can say, like like an integration or a differentiation or a, like that. So it is like a simple, like addition and subtraction or division or multiplication. So that kind of questions only you'll be expecting. The two what not much, maximum three, like a minimum one, and this is the high scoring area again. Just simply you have to write the formula, that equation, and you have to substitute that one, and you have to write that a particular proper unit. Same thing we used to do it in school days, like in physics and chemistry. So if you're writing that formula, then you are substituting those values of whichever it is in the question, and you are writing the answer with particular unit. So that is more than enough for scoring maximum. Here, so there is no point in reduction any marks. Suppose if it is a 10 mark means your chances are high to score 10 out of 10, especially in the mathematical questions. Yes, ma, of course. So this is, I will just share my mail ID. So this is my mail ID. You can use this one. So you can mail me. So regarding the subject, you are always welcome. Like regarding this fees or timing, timetable and all, please contact the administration. Even I am not near to the Delhi, I think you will be understanding. Okay. So regarding your course or timing or this uploading of these things and all, so kindly contact administration. So they will be the best and reliable and resourceful person. Regarding the geology, and the technical contents and the doubts on the subject syllabus, these things and all, you can always contact through this mail ID. So is anyone is having any other doubts? So we can wait for five more minutes, so that anyone is having a question is they can post it in the chat box me. Okay, ma'am. So once again, thank you. So if any doubts are there, you can always feel free to contact, especially related to the geology and optional under this preparation. You can contact me. And regarding this course schedule, under this timetable and this other things and all, please contact administration at Vajiram Ravi. Okay. So thank you one and all. All the best and be the best for your preparation. Thank you.